All right, just running through these extension lessons today. 3-4 binomial squared, which is very, very similar to what we just did in 3-3. So a little bit of review, like we might have talked about earlier, is that a binomial is an algebraic expression with two terms, right? That beginning, that binomial, bicycle, two wheels. So algebraic expression that has two terms. For example, remember that your terms are separated by addition or subtraction. So it could be something like 2x minus 5 or negative y plus 2x. I don't know. Two terms, two pieces. Remember, squared, when you see squared, that just simply means an exponent of 2. Remember that exponents represent repeated multiplication. So really, what I'm going to tell you to do here is that you're going to start first expand. Then, once you expand first, you'll see what really these problems actually just are. So we'll kind of look at the first example. So remember, repeated multiplication, repeatedly multiplying that base by the exponent, the number of times. Sorry, whoa, try that again. You are repeatedly multiplying the base by itself, the number of times the exponent tells you to. So here in example number 1, my base is the entire 18 minus x. That whole thing is being raised to the second power, hence the parentheses. So when I say expand that, that is really going to turn into 18 minus x times 18 minus x. The base multiplied by itself twice. Now you can see that we have a binomial times a binomial, which, as we just learned in lesson 3-3, results in a double distribution problem. So first you're going to expand, then you're going to double distribute. distribute. Woohoo! Yay. So, just like we practice. These ones are going to be nice because you will have a lot of like terms and some things will sometimes cancel out nicely. So, starting with that first piece, that first term that needs to be distributed is that 18. And I do not know off the top of my head what 18 times 18 is, although I feel like I should. 18 times 18, as my handy-dandy calculator tells me, is 324. Great work. Thanks. Okay, so I'm not done because that 18 also needs to get multiplied by that negative x, and that negative x times that positive 18 is going to be negative 18x. Woohoo! Now, on to the next piece. That negative x, not forgetting that sign in front of it, because if you do forget the sign in front of it, then we just have a floating negative sign, which, what are we going to do with that? So, negative x being multiplied by that positive 18, and this is where you know you're on the right track because those two terms are the same, which makes sense because I have something and I'm squaring it, multiplying it by itself. It makes sense. And last but not least, the negative x times the negative x. Negative times negative is positive. And x times x is x squared. And just at this point, like I've done in all of our lessons, we are going to remind ourselves somewhere, how about over here, that x times x gives you x squared, and x plus x gives you 2x. Two very, very different things, as I'm sure you might be sick of me saying right now. All right, last step is to just combine some like terms. That negative 18x and that negative 18x. Spending $18 and then spending 18 more is going to give me a negative 36. And I'm just going to rearrange this so it's in order from greatest to least, with my x squared first, then my negative 36x, then. And when I say greatest to least, I mean the exponents are greatest to least. Sorry, I wasn't more specific about that. I should have been. So there we have our first example of a binomial squared.